They built the car barns on University Street, which are still there today. One it was built in 1891, the other one built in 1896. George, Sofa, and Vance had talked to me and said, we want a streetcar for the restaurant. I said, well, I only know of one.
George insisted that he wanted to make it look like it looked in the 1800s, and we got connected with Mr. DROUILLARD. And Bernie DROUILLARD is an incredible historian, local historian. He also told us that there is one of the original streetcars available somewhere. In
1938, 39, the SWA sold them when they were done service for $100. People bought them for cottages. In fact, in Wheatley, there was a campground that had one for a diner and half a dozen of them for their cottages.
This one operated as a bait and tackle shop for a while, then eventually made its way to a lot where a house was built around it, and it was basically hidden from view.
A friend of mine, John Stefani, and myself, we spent a month looking for this every weekend because we were given addresses and none of them materialized. We pulled into a driveway to turn around, and I said to John, we found it.
You couldn't tell. You'd have to have an eye for it. It looked like a little house, but inside the shell of a house was this old trolley car. Inside the wall was the window sections, and in fact one of the window sections had an old ticket in it from Windsor to Amherstburg, I believe it was, that's where somebody was sat and had that little ticket in the window.
And we knocked on a few doors, we found the people that owned it, and then George took over from there.
We talked to the owners of the house. We don't know exactly what shape it was because it was covered up the most of the building.
He got a crew in, they tore the house down carefully. I was there when they pulled the siding off and we saw the fleet number.
We did take a chance, but as soon as it started taking the walls down from the house, we saw more and more of it. And when Mr. DROUILLARD saw the 351 on the side of the trolley, he was so happy.
Because I had been inside the car, I knew it had a smoking compartment. So I knew it had to be car 351 to 354 because they were the only 4 cars that were used on the Tecumseh line that had a smoking compartment.
Now it's an empty lot. And I didn't realize that's part of history, which makes me kind of excited, really. It's a good thing.
And eventually, we sold the property, but the trolley wasn't part of the deal. And out of nowhere, Mayor DILKENS called.
What are you guys going to do with the streetcar that you now have in storage in your warehouse that you're selling? And they said, Drew, we just want to get rid of it, but we want to make sure it stays in the community.
That belongs to the city of Windsor. We got to do something to keep it. That trolley is not going to leave the city. We decide from day one, we're not going to let them go to anybody else.
I said, what if the city steps forward and we find a plan to make something happen here that will restore the history, will tell the story, and be in a place where the public can understand what used to happen here and how important what happened here was to our community and its future.
When he called and he told me what they had put aside to do this, it was, how can you say no? We donated it to the city and they brought it to a world-class place and doing a world-class job on it.
This is the only one left of any of the SWA cars.
We believe in history. And I like to see my grandchildren one day pass by there, say, oh, my grandfather was involved with that. Just a little bit.
I'm happy that, people are going to get the opportunity to actually see something that's 100 years old.
If I walk into that restored trolley car and walk through it, I'm going to say, wow, I had dinner here. This is where my dining room was. This is where my table was. This is where my kitchen was. And now I'm glad it's got a home where everybody can see what it was in its day, and it must have been something.